Thank you so much for everything. How to answer in interviews. Questions are almost same, but still, and these interviews shows like who you actually, and this create a very good impact on the PDs. So on this note, let's start with this uh, workshop. I want to show you one video, and I want your suggestions on that. Let's go ahead. So this is the webinar agenda for today. We'll give the intro, then how you have to prepare for the interviews, insights, workshop from George, and we have some rewards and offers for all the attendees, and then we will do the question and answer. So guys, you will get lots of things in this workshop, so stay tuned last. So here is a video, just watch this.
For interviews, I would say it's where you're going to face the interview. So once after the CV and PS, so that time you'll only hardly get 15 minutes with each interviewer, and in that 15 minutes you need to give as much as possible information about you, but with professionally, and it should be in a way that they would remember you at the end of the day. So
guys, do you agree with this statement or not? I just wanted to know, and just say yes or no in the chat box. How crucial are the 15 minutes of the interview or the starting statement, whatever you are doing the conversation? How important is that one? How many agree with that? Wow, so many yes. Everyone is saying yes. So how you will impress the PDs? Okay. Yeah, Dr. Ahmed. Yes, it's very important. Correct. Okay. So let's so everyone agree with this. This is a very important factor of your interview, because once you are interacting, they will see your impact. Okay, someone is saying 15 minutes is less, but you have to tell about yourself. This is the digital era, and in this, if you see the reels, they're not interesting in starting one or two. You won't see that, right? It's the same in the interviews as well. Okay, let's move to next session. So we have our guest, Dr. George William, and he will tell you about how to handle it and how to views, how to interact with the PDs, how you should start your conversation so that you can go longer with the PDs and you can tell about yourself and you can give them a chance to talk with you. So let's welcome and say welcome to Dr. George in the chat box. Say hi. And it's over to you now. Dr. George.
Thank you, Swati. All right, can I get control of the
PPT?
I think you should be able to, or
yeah, I'll do that. No worries. So do you want to start so you can, otherwise I'll do it for you.
so I think give him the control. I think that may be
Okay.
best.
Yeah, so you can share it now.
All right, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, some housekeeping. If you have questions, we'll take it in the chat box, and we're also streaming it on Facebook. So Swati, just keep an eye out if there are questions on Facebook.
Sure. And guys, you can also pose the questions here. We'll answer later on.
All right, Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pawan, and thank you, Swati, for introducing. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and morning, wherever you are, and welcome again. I just wanted to talk to you and give you a brief overview of how the residency interviews happen. I know some of you may know this, and some of you are very new to this. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of why what we're doing is important and how to do it, in a generalized way, how essentially to ace those interviews and how to prepare for interviews. I think before we start, it's very important to know that no matter how fluent you are in English, or how, like, even if English is your first language or any of those things, you have to prepare for interviews. You have to prepare, you have to practice, you have to keep preparing for each interview as if it is your only interview. So it's very important. Language fluency is not enough. Knowing how to interact with people, knowing how to interact with program directors and house staff, knowing what to interact, knowing the right questions to ask, knowing the right answers to give are what's important. Okay, I think that was just like an introduction to why we're doing all of this. Again, so moving on to that part, from the program director survey that the NRMP releases every year, and I'm sure many of you have seen this, I'm sure all of you know that, step 1 score, step 2 CK, and, all that stuff that is in your application are important. All of these things are certainly important for getting an interview. And after you get your interview, to get ranked, you need to have other skills and other things that are beyond your CV. And those things include like interpersonal skills, interactions with faculty, interactions with house staff, and then the interactions you have with these residents, and the feedback that they give back to the program, depending on the kind of conversations you've had with them. And then the other thing that people want to know through your interviews and through your application is your perceived interest in that program. How much have you read about the program? How much do you know about the program? Are you applying to that program just as a random number, or do you really want to go to that program? And the other thing is, similarly, not just a program, they want to look for how committed you are to that specialty. Especially if you are an applicant who's applied to 2 or more specialties, convincing programs that you are interested in one specific subspecialty is very important, because it may not be evident on your CV, but if they interview you, you need to demonstrate your commitment to that particular specialty. So that's very important. They also look for professionalism and ethics. Again, it may be either evident through their conversations with you, or they may have other behavioral questions that figure that out. Okay, so like I said, these reasons are why your interview performance is important, because all these things have high importance in your ranking. Okay, once you're offered an interview, you need to get ranked. So once you're offered an interview, you are at level or at par with everyone else who have been invited for an interview. So after that, it's the other things, like, the things that we just discussed, your interactions with faculty and house staff, that are very important. And moving on to the similar thing, the questions that they ask you have a purpose, right? The conversations you have a purpose. So they want to look for, how can you communicate? Are you somebody who can make small talk? Can you communicate well with them? Are you somebody who in your conversations describe experiences where you've worked professionally, worked ethically, and about your clinical competency or patient care or any of those things. So in all of your answers, try to make sure there is one component of these important factors, and that is how you need to start preparing your answers. Okay, so when you start thinking of interview questions, we recently conducted a survey, right, through the Instagram group, and everybody has some idea about the most common questions that are asked for interviews. So there are tens and hundreds of questions that can be asked for interviews, but you need to think about what is the underlying thing that they're trying to figure out from me. Are they trying to figure out if I'm somebody that can work together with them, or am I somebody who can work together for, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of my residency with that group, right? So what are the qualities that they're looking for me? And you have the cheat code right here, right? The program director survey has given you all that stuff. So make sure you include any of these characteristics or all of these characteristics in various answers for your interviews. And that is how, that is how you can be successful. And that again tells you how important preparing in advance is. Okay. All right. So moving on to how to prepare to secure interviews. One of the most common questions that everybody, I think, has told us is that the question is like, tell me about yourself. So they can ask it in different ways, like, tell me more about yourself just so that I can get to know you better. Tell me something about yourself that is not on your CV, or, just sometimes they may not even ask you, like they just ask you, how are you? And then, you just start from there. So these questions are extremely important, and these are obviously very different based on who you are, what your experiences and all of that. But in general, I would I recommend that you organize your answers into 4 small paragraphs. All right. And this answer has to be prepared regularly. You need to keep working on this and keep practicing this answer as many times as you can. So the first paragraph, so you introduce, when they ask you about, tell me about yourself, you introduce by, saying who you are. You're, so-and-so from here, either from the US or from a different country, wherever you did your medical school, the type of medical school you went to, and what you're up to right now. Maybe you are doing a clinical rotation at a specific place. Maybe you're doing research at a specific place. Maybe you are working as a medical assistant at a specific place. Whatever you are, you need to give them a brief overview of all the things that you are, of the person you are in that first paragraph, very briefly. And then you want to start explaining smaller things. And if you notice that, my paragraphs say briefly, briefly, briefly. The reason I say briefly is that these are launch pads, the rocket launch pads. These are launch pads for you to, for them to ask you certain questions that you can expand upon. So for example, in paragraph 2, when you say, when you talk about what brought you into that specialty, you again, like you would say, oh, only a brief portion of it. And that gives them the opportunity to maybe dig up more into it. They say, oh, I noticed that you said this about how you went into internal medicine. Can you tell me more about that experience? And that is how you direct them, or you have that launch pad for yourself, the launch pad that you yourself created to answer that question in a much better way. Similarly, all the other things, like what about that program made you interested? You would just tell them briefly, but then they have an opportunity to ask you this more in detail. Okay, so continuing in your paragraph 2, you want to continue with what is your final goal? Do you want to do academic internal medicine? Do you want to do academic hospitalist? Do you want to go into private practice where you can own an office? And you want to also build in how you think the program that you're interviewing at, how that program can help you achieve those goals. Okay, again, all these things don't have to be really detailed. These have to be brief enough that it piques their interest and they're able to ask you more about it, right? And then third paragraph will talk about more about you. What makes you competitive? What are your strengths? Again, briefly, what makes you competitive as a candidate? What do you offer to the program? And how you are as a person. As many of you know, the hobbies section in your CV is no longer there. So many people had to add it in their experience section and things like that. So this is another great opportunity for you to tell them how you are as a person outside of medicine, right? Maybe you're somebody who loves to read detective novels. Maybe you're somebody who loves to do certain arts and crafts. Maybe you have a YouTube channel, whatever, right? you need to tell them about things, the things that make you a person outside of medicine. Again, these are things that they can, again, ask you more in detail, and you can connect with them, depending on who the person is. And again, after this, you want to close the paragraph, you want to close the answer. And this is a general rule for all questions. You want to close your answer by telling them, essentially, by distilling everything that you said and telling them the goal of why you were there. Okay, you want to close and tell them that either you want to say that, yes, the reason I'm here, and I'm really happy to be here, in this interview, because I want to be part of your residency program or a program such as yours, and things like that. So essentially, all these paragraphs, you want to structure it into these different paragraphs or different sections and finish it off in less than a minute and a half, right? About a minute and a half is a good rule. Less than 2 minutes for sure. Beyond that is just too much. Okay. So like I said before, answer structures, and this is not just for tell me about yourself. For all the questions, have a brief introduction with what you're going to talk about. So for example, if they ask you your strengths, you give them a brief overview of your strengths and then talk about it in detail with an example. Okay. And then, like I said, you will close the answer again, giving them a launch pad to the next question. So you want to close your answer again and remind them of all the strengths that you had or all the things that you talked about in that answer, directing them to the next question. And these are some of the things that are important as well. So like I said before, all these things are looked for in ranking, like your interpersonal skills, interactions with faculty, and all of that. So when they're looking for somebody who can keep a conversation, like say you don't have any awkward conversations or awkward pauses in between conversations, they want to see if the applicant can keep a stimulating conversation going. And what does that look for? What does that signify? That the person has good interpersonal skills or good interactions with faculty. And that is, again, this is how they test these things, right? Then there are behavioral questions that some programs will ask. There are a lot of internal medicine, some advanced programs, a lot of these programs now going to structured standardized behavioral questions that are meant to test your professionalism, your ethics, how much you know the specialty, and things like that. Then there are questions like, what questions do you have for me? And these are questions that you absolutely have to prepare for. Okay, so this again denotes to how much interest you have in the program, how much you've read from the program, how much you've interacted with faculty and house staff. Same thing, do you know the program inside out? You need to read the program website, go through their website, go through all social media, go through any Google News that has come regarding them. So you need to know that program inside out, know the people's names, know what they did, know their interest. Again, all of this shows your perceived interest in that program. And very important, like I said before, you need to have a compelling answer for why the specialty, because that denotes your commitment to specialty. Okay. Now, there are a lot of general resources available online. These are just two examples. There are hundreds of questions, like I said before. There are hundreds of questions available online, and it's all up to you. Like, you have to just sit and prepare all of these questions. But there are also like most common questions and things like that. And obviously you start with the most common questions, and then you proceed to slightly more advanced and more behavioral kind of questions. Okay, I'm sure the team will talk to you more about the other resources that are available for you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. George. So you guys can check our blogs, which is based on the interview preparation, how to secure the interviews, and the interview day, post-interview strategies, pre-interview strategies. And apart from this, we have the YouTube videos as well. So you can check our YouTube channel, Sejal if you can drop the YouTube link here, so they can grab that, and you can watch all the videos on interview preparation. We have more than 100 videos on interview preparation, and which covers all the aspects of interviews. So let's move to the next section, and I would like to invite our chief mentor. He is helping the students at the IMGs since last 5 years, and he helped over 7,000 IMGs to match into their dream residency. And I think we should give a round of applause. You can do it on the chat. Just say good job or something. Yeah, heart is very good. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Dr.
it's Swati, it's all right.
Yeah, I think I
but
mean
thank you.
it's a bigger part. It's a big achievement for us. Like you have trained more than 7,000 students, and who are successfully there in the US now. They are the resident over there. Thank you so much, guys. Now it's over to you, Pawan.
Thank you, and maybe you can move the slides for me. So if you can go on to the next one. So guys, I quickly wanted to just give you an overview of some of the match trends, for those of you who are going into the match. In fact, that reminds me, there was a poll that we should have done. So let me launch it. So I just wanted to get a sense of, how many of you are applying for the match this season. So looks like there is a technical problem on the slide, but meanwhile, the main message from the slide is what has changed in the trends, or how the last year's match went. So primary care, as usual, tends to be the focus. IMGs, whether visa seeking or non-visa seeking, internal medicine is a big field for them. So thank you, it's back. Maybe not spoke early. So internal medicine, as you can see, has been growing, and that is the bread and butter specialty for IMGs. Family medicine too has been, relatively on a good growth path. The challenge, as you can see, is certain niche specialties, and this obviously does not include all. So Dr. Villanilam here is a radiologist, and that's a very, very niche specialty, very hard for IMGs to get in. But of course, they do get in as he is approved. Certain specialties, neurology, for example, is very hard, as you can see, not only because it is very competitive now, but also the number of spots, as you can see, compared to internal medicine. The surprising thing last year was pathology. So what happened in pathology was more American grads actually applied to pathology than in usual years, and there were the spots also decreased. So the combination of more American grads applying and reduction in spots really meant that IMGs had a harder time matching into pathology. So these are tectonic shifts. They happen over years. So you will see family medicine, for example, used to be very, very visa friendly till about 5-6 years ago, now less. Pathology suddenly last year, you've seen, has become slightly harder. Neurology over the past 3 years has been getting harder. So these are some of the shifts that you should all be aware of. However, the IMG match rate continues to increase. The number of IMGs more or less got down because of COVID, but now it's picking up again. Competition is increasing, but the match rate is increasing as well. So just a bit of a trend. Next slide, Swati, if you don't mind. Okay, so some of our results, they're never complete simply because, many students don't report, but just so that you can see, we've been trying to help students across specialties. Internal medicine continues to be something a lot of our students go in, family medicine, pediatrics, etc. Like I said, pathology was a bit of a hit or a miss last season, just because of the changes. But overall, we are very proud of our students and the hard work they've put in. And even if some of you may not match in this season, they continue to be our students in the next season. So that you'll see positive results in the next seasons. Swati, next slide. Is it for me?
Just a moment. I just wanted to know like who is applying in which specialty. Meanwhile, we are moving to next slide. If you can put it in chat box. Yeah. So if you can tell about, this is, you guys can see the result on our website. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, so what I would invite you is to go to our website, and this is all openly available. You will see our students' data and all that, where they've matched, and read some of those stories. Hopefully it inspires you. We've had 20-year YOG match, a 15-year YOG match, but that's for the website. You can go there, and I think without further ado, maybe George, we can go and dive into the workshop, the interactive session now.
Yeah.
Yes, Pawan. If you want to introduce or.
So Swati, maybe give him the control if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So most of them are applying in internal, yeah, lots of IM. Okay, one is in general surgery, IM Pete.
All right, can you hear me? Excellent.
Yes.
So Pawan, or do y'all want to do the introduction for this, or do the participants know how to do this?
No, I think, George, let's, why don't you, maybe you can start off by saying the common questions that we heard on Instagram and other things, and then we'll pick a question and see who wants to try answering that. Swati will unmute them. So guys, how this is going to work is, this is a workshop kind of a setting. We'll introduce some of the common questions and the framework that Dr. Villanelum has given earlier in the session. You can use that, you can use your framework, but given that this is a virtual interview season, like the 3 previous ones, you can unmute, you can talk on audio or share your video, I guess, also. We are not going to be, so you can always type your responses, but that's not going to help you that much. It's the interactive practice that helps. So with that, Swati, you can, see who all, whether Sarthi students or non-Sarthi students will be interested. You can unmute them. And Villanelum, George, if you could, just kick it off.
Thanks, Pawan.
Thanks.
So like as Pawan said, what we're going to do is we have, we sent out a poll in our Instagram page earlier this week, and we got a list of the most common questions that people are afraid of, or the most common questions that people have heard of or have experienced before. And we've tried to compile those 3 common questions here, in addition to tell me about yourself. So we talked about that question earlier. Now I want to see if we can interact and have that a session where we go through question by question, just 3 questions, and see what answers you have and how we can, what feedback I can give you and how we can improve on that. All right. So the first question is, a lot of times after you tell me about yourself, one of the most natural next questions is, how did you find our program? Like, why did you want to apply to a program? Or how did you find us, or why our program? This is a very important question. And it is actually quite important. And a lot of people have difficulty answering this question. So, we can start off with this question.
So, just raise your hands. I'll give the access. I think Dr. Surbhi is there. I'm giving you access. You can talk. Yeah, Dr. Surbhi, you can talk now. Dr.
Surbhi, you
Surbhi?
are on mute. So guys, if you need to participate, you got to unmute. Maybe I can unmute
Yes,
you. Okay, I tried to unmute, but looks
but
like you're
still,
muted on your side.
yep.
Okay, anyone
Okay.
else?
I think another one is Dr. Fads. Okay, I've given access. You can talk now.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to try to answer the first question. Why did you apply to our program? So
Please.
I have been studying your program for a while now, and I'm very interested in what I found. The clinical setting is to my preference, which is suburban, and your program provides a lot of opportunities for learning and for honing my clinical skills.
All right. Thanks so much for participating. I know it's like hard when there are like 300 people listening to you. So, so essentially, I think that's a good starting point to the actual answer. So essentially, like if we go back to our original structure, so the question is, how did you find our program, or why did you want our program? So start by just a brief introduction of what you're going to be talking about. So like you said, you know, I was going through your program, or I was discovering, and I found your program through whatever. So you can always start by saying, you know, I was searching for a residency program in this region, or I was searching for a residency program based on the advice from my mentors or seniors or people, whoever, right? Try to have a sort of a specific reason if you can. If not, that's fine. But then more importantly, after that, you want to say, okay, the reason that pushed me to think about your program or to apply to your program is ABC. So 3 specific things. I would recommend at least 3 specific things. So like you said about the clinical preference. So what about the clinical preference? Is it their clinical, do they have high patient load, or do they have a diverse patient population, or do they have a specific subset of patients that you like, or do they have specific rotations that you like, specific options for subspecialty rotations that you like? So like 2 or 3 things, I would recommend like choosing a clinical thing, an educational thing, and if there's something else like a third thing like research, you can mention that. Otherwise, 2 clinical and 1 educational thing is absolutely fine. But try to be as specific as you can. I know you mentioned the suburban thing. It's okay to say it, but that should not be the most compelling reason that drives you to a program. Instead, talk about the quality of the program. And these things can be figured out through their website, by looking, like I said, looking online, looking at their social media. And then, interestingly, a lot of times when you have these pre-interview Zoom meetings, when you talk to the residents and figure out what exactly they like about the program, you can add these particular things to your answer, right? And then you close the answer just like before. You want to close the answer by saying, in short, these are the things that I like about the program, and I'm just very excited to be here, and I, just wish I could be a part of your program, or something like that. But essentially, like, you want to give that introduction, that example, and that closure. So good job.
So let me take a follow-up question before we move on to the next, because I'm reading the chat. Can one of the reasons be a special track that the program has, or a geographical preference?
Yes to the first one, no to the second one. So special track is something that programs advertise, and yes, that should be, if there is such a thing, that should be a reason why you're interested in that. Geographic preference can be the third point, never the first or second point. Okay, you want to apply to the program because of the program, not because of where it is located at.
Okay.
Good question.
Okay. Can we take on the next question and maybe invite someone else? So,
Yeah. So
great job. So we're moving to the next question, and let's see. the question is, the people ask us in different ways, why should we take you? What makes you think, or why do you think you'd be a good fit for our program? What makes you a competitive candidate? These are just different ways of asking the same question. I invite one of you to interact.
Yeah, sure. Dr. Stravni. Dr. Stravni, just unmute yourself and you can go ahead. Dr. Stravni.
Hi, good morning.
Good
So I
morning.
would like to answer the question, why should we take you?
Please go ahead.
Uh, I am a person who has the experience of working in a very busy hospital throughout my intern year for 12 months in my home country, and I continued the same through like an year of United States clinical experience. During this time, I've honed a lot of skills, which include adaptability and resilience. I also would like to share that I work well with teams, and I am very good in handling patients who belong to a variety of cultural backgrounds. And I think that makes me a very competitive candidate.
All right, great job. I think you hit a lot of the points that I wanted to discuss about. So first of all, great job. It's not easy talking to so many people at the same time. So
Thank you.
the important thing here is how I want you to start your answer. Like I said before, have an introduction, right? You have an introduction by giving them a brief about, I think I would be a great fit for your program because of A, B, and C. You want to give them that just, tasty bit for them to chew on when you start giving your full answer. All right. The next paragraph would be you explaining those things. So I like that you mentioned about your clinical experience, your US clinical experience, and about you being able to interact with a different, diverse culture of patients and stuff. Yes, but the thing that you haven't added is, I would recommend adding more than just your clinical aspects, right? You are with them for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years. You need to be compatible with them as a person as well. Okay, so what do you bring to the program in addition to your clinical experience? Do you have teaching experience? Maybe you love teaching people. Maybe you're a good mentor. Maybe those kinds of things are helpful to the program. Maybe you have some research experience. It doesn't matter if you don't have. I'm just saying whatever you have, you bring into the program. So you can talk about your clinical experience. Say you have had extensive experience in your home country and in the US that has helped you build on your clinical experience in different countries and different patient populations that make you a good physician who can connect with people of different cultures. So that would be the first point. And then you're moving from a different place to another place, and taking care of patients in the US and in the other country. That shows how adaptable and resilient you are to change. These are skills that you can translate and bring to your residency program. So you want to remind them that these are important skills that they're looking for. They know that, but you want to remind them that these are skills that you're looking for, and these are skills I bring to your program. Then talk about the other things where, when I was in my med school, I took care, or I was a team leader, or I've been a team player, and give an example of how you were a good team player or how you were a team leader when you you delegated roles or did things that a team leader would do. And these are things again that you bring to a residency program. And now at the end, because right now you've ended it in an abrupt way that they have to either think about their next question, or it just there's just an awkward pause. So you want to end it by again summarizing what you think it should be the answer, and take them to the next question. So good job. You just have to work on the structure.
Yep. And just to interject here a couple of things. So guys, we are answering these questions which I see on the chat. But it is very impressive for those of you who are volunteering. As George and Swati said, it's not easy, but I hope this will give you confidence to just talk in the open virtual houses, or when you go to the interview in a virtual setting. This is very, very impressive, Shravani, and I think Faiz was the earlier one. Second, if you do want to practice, our classes and interactive sessions that we have for our students do exactly the same. So even if you don't get a chance today because of the shortage of time, you can look up our interview prep courses, and you can do practice there as well. Okay, so there are other questions that are coming in, but I think one of the let's move on to other question, and then maybe we'll take the questions that are coming in.
Yeah, of course. So the third question is, why the specialty? Since most of you are applying to internal medicine, you can, I mean, it doesn't matter. Whoever is volunteering, you can talk about your specialty. That is fine. So essentially, this is another important question that most people ask is, why do you want to go into internal medicine? Why do you want to go into psychiatry? Where do you see the specialty going? So no matter what this question is, you will talk about pretty much the same things with like minor changes. So I'm ready for the next person.
So Swati,
Okay,
yeah, see
so
who
we
is.
have, yeah, Dr. Noor Sabha.
Okay.
Yes. Just unmute yourself, doctor. Yeah.
Hello, hi. So why this specialty? So it's been my passion to be a neurologist ever since my internship, because my hospital was a stroke hospital where we saw multiple stroke patients. When I immigrated to the US, I got an opportunity to work with like neurologists, and I got into clinical research. So this actually ignited my passion for neurology. And why do I see this? Where do I see the specialty going? Is there are a lot of unknown causes or unknown your cures for neurological disorders like neuromuscular disorders, and by talking to neurologists and involving in clinical research, I have come to love this because there is a huge scope of research, and in the past decade, we have been successful in curing neuromuscular disorders by gene therapy and so on. So I would love to be a part of this in my career.
Excellent. All right. So Noor, again, good job on answering this question. So this answer, I would like to dissect it in two ways. The first part where you said about why the specialty, and then the second part is like, where do you see the specialty going? So where do you see the specialty going? I certainly like it. I think that is very valid. There have been tons of advances in the last decade or two, and a lot of things have happened, and you want to be part of that change and that advancement. That is a very valid answer, and that's a great answer to keep, right? And the more examples you give, the better. But then the critical question is, why do you want to be in the specialty? And that answer should not have anything generic. The reason is there are 20 applicants in that same interview day who's going to answer this question. And at least half of them are going to say, oh, I did this rotation and I liked it, or I did this, I interacted with stroke patients and I liked it, or something really generic. And half of these people who give generic answers, they're not going to be remembered. So the more generic answer you give, you're just one more face in the crowd. So you want to be as specific as you can. So what about the specialty? Yes, you initially got an experience in neurology through the stroke patients that you had at your stroke center in your medical school, right? So that got you initially interested in them. But then, was there a specific patient? Was there a specific experience either in your medical school or in your clinical rotations that really made you choose neurology? Okay, a lot of times you may not have that exact patient, but I would recommend like trying to find an example. Maybe you saw a very puzzling case, and that made you really interested in neurology. Maybe you saw, like, maybe it was a personal thing, maybe it was a family member of something, right? You don't have a very specific example about why you got into neurology. And then, you know, people always talk about, like, I like the problem solving part of it, or I like the puzzle solving part of it. But this is that's common. Like 50% of people are going to say the same thing. Instead, you tell me, what is the puzzle? Like, what is the puzzle you like to, you know, solve through these experiences? Or what experience, or what have these experiences shown you specifically? And that is what is going to be memorable. Okay. This is a very important question, and I think, like, you handle it well, but I need you to be more specific by adding more of your personal and professional experiences. Okay.
Let me ask some follow-up questions on this as I'm seeing on the chat. Can I answer this question using a personal example, like battling a medical condition? How impressive or not impressive is that if I had a personal medical condition that drove me to that specific specialty?
So again, this is plus minus. A lot of I've heard different things from different people. It is the focus should not be on yourself or the family member who had the disease, rather on what was done to make you interested in that disease. So say, for example, you had a family member, there is a family member with Alzheimer's. You don't just talk about what the family member went through, instead about what you specifically did or what you specifically learned. Maybe you went because of that made you read more about Alzheimer's drugs. Maybe you got part of, you became part of an Alzheimer's research program, and you learned specific things. Maybe you learned more about it from certain mentors or experts in Alzheimer's, and all these things built up on that initial family experience. And that is what really interested you in neurology. So you can always start by saying, I was initially interested, or I was initially drawn to neurology because of this, but then my efforts, or these direct efforts, have led me into neurology. That is what they want to see. Don't try to hold on to, sad stories or any of those things. Instead, use them as just initial starting points, and then move on to direct efforts.
Okay. And I think since we have about 10 minutes left, I do want to take other questions that students have been asking me. So everyone, we'll take your questions, and maybe Swati, we quickly move on to the other parts before I take the questions. I think we had some offers for the students.
Yes, for sure.
So do you want to go over it?
I wanted to say thanks to Dr. George, and I would love others also show your gratitude and love to Dr. George. He took his time to give lots of insights. Thank you very much. Okay, so here is something for you, how we help in interview preparation, because lots of students nowadays are asking how we help, what we have in interview preparation. So Pawan, if you can go through this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our interview preparation, for those of you who are new to Sarthi, encompasses a lot of things. So one, of course, is the interview classes. There are 4 kinds of classes. One is the basic interview preparation classes. Dr. George takes it, other people take it. So there's a set of 7 classes that are classified in the basic interviews. Then I take a series of 12 classes, short 1-hour classes, where we practice. So in all these, then we have specific class for medical questions, another class for behavioral questions. So we have about 35 to 40 hours of interactive classes, sessions where you can practice. Then, of course, there is a closed Telegram group where we answer questions like you're asking on the chat, and our panelists answer there. So that's important. And what we also do is over the years, we have gathered questions that different programs like to ask. So internal medicine and all specialties, we have a database of questions that we have collected form specific programs, and if you get an interview at that program, we share those question sets so that you are just prepared on what type of questions and trends that the program is going after, so specific to the program. Then, of course, there is mock interviews. You can take mock interviews with our panelists, which are one-on-one 45-minute sessions on Zoom. Exactly a series of questions. You answer, you get feedback. Finally, of course, during the season, we do other classes as well, like rank order list support and else. So that's how we do it. Swati, is there anything else you want me to talk about?
Yeah, so you can see all the classes are listed here, all the description, you can see the trailers of those videos. So everything is there on our website. And how you
I'm sorry,
So-
so this is our hosted platform, Matchflix, where all our classes are available, pre-interview or interview prep. If you go to our website, you will see a series of classes, and you can actually, depending on your plan, you can log in and you can see my practice session and other classes as well. So, it has an app also that you can download, and obviously do it on your go as well.
Yeah, you can access it from anywhere and anytime.
Yep.
Okay, so now it's time to reward you. So this is our interview preparation plan, which includes mentorship sessions. These are 5 sessions with our chief mentor. Then IB prep classes, which is more than 35 plus hours, and that is true with the practice sessions. So you will do the practices same as we were doing here. And you will get the access to pre-IB classes, that is for 15 plus hours, then interview insights, as Pawan told you earlier, and the Telegram community. And this is the price for this as per the market. So this is not the price we are giving you right now. Any guesses? This will be in how much price? Like, what should be the price for this? Any guesses? Come on, guys, you're getting mentorship sessions. That is to, more than $300 one session. $3,000. Okay. And someone is saying free. Nothing comes free in.
Yeah, session like these are free, so that's all right. I mean,
Yeah. So let me reveal the price for you. So now you are not getting this and 2748. So here is the price for you. Yeah. So this is just for the attendees who are attending this session, and after this session, you won't get this the price. The price will be something else for silver plan. So if you want to grab this, Sejal, if you can add coupon code here and the link, so that they can, and just add the coupon code as well, so that they can use it.
And of course, we understand there are different economic situations. So obviously, our YouTube channel, we do offer a lot of free videos, and there are a lot of blogs as well on our website. So for those of you who are interested, and if you're a Sarthi student, it's already included in your subscription.
Plans.
So I think Isha is asking those questions. So yes, this is the interview prep plan. Okay, so I think let me take the last 3 or 4 minutes. Swati, if you can, I want to take the questions. So George, I think one question was how to take the home country residency. If I've done home country residency, how to include it in my answer, especially tell me something about yourself.
Yes, so that would be in the introduction part itself. And then now, because you've done home country residency, and I'm assuming it's the same specialty that you're applying to, because you've done home country residency, that is one of the biggest things that you can tell them about commitment to specialty, right? So that would be in your second paragraph as well. So when you talk about what brought you into that specialty, you can add that you've already done that residency, convincing them that that you are truly interested. But yes, you should definitely add it in your tell me about yourself introduction portion itself, just in case they haven't seen your CV. I know a lot of you think that we should not repeat the CV, which is true during your interviews, but you should know that, and this is from personal experience, I've seen a lot of this and happening over the years. A lot of times somebody else reviews your application, and the actual interviewer may be a different person, and they don't even open your CV until they actually meet you. So it's important that you use that opportunity to make the best use of it. So tell them all the important things that they need to know.
Okay. Last question before I let you go, George, is if I have low scores or attempts, in general, how do I handle it in the interviews? Low scores, attempts, maybe gaps, any kind of red flag. How should I tackle it?
Good question. That does not typically come in the tell me about yourself portion. You can, like, say you have a gap of whatever years, that maybe can be addressed in a good way, saying that you took a gap for to take care of some people, but then I came back and did 2 years worth of clinical rotations or something. But there's somebody's going to ask you if it is a red flag that is significant, like maybe it was a failure, maybe it was something else that happened. If it is a significant red flag, it's likely that they will ask you. So you have to address it. And how do you address it? Instead of, like, if it was a failure, own up to it, right? Mistakes happen. People don't prepare enough. People underestimate enough, language issues or whatever. Don't make excuses. That's the first thing. You own up to it. Say that, I realize now, looking back, I probably didn't prepare enough. And then talk about specific things that you did to improve. What did you do specifically? Did you work? Did you, you looked at the USMLE transcript or the USMLE report and saw that you needed more work in GI or renal, and then you worked specifically in those sections. You took advice from seniors or mentors or people different, or you did a course or something specific that you did and you've improved. And you've been successful in your second attempt. And then you also want to tell them that, what you've learned not to underestimate those things. So you've learned how to better prepare for standardized exams so that you can, and that you've improved for the next time. The reason they're asking you these things is to make sure that you will not repeat this, and that you will have reproducible successes in your residency. That is what they want to know.
Yeah. Thank you very much, George. This was very, very informative, very helpful. Thank you. And I will stay back and answer some more questions, but let's give a big hand to Dr. George Villaninum. Is always there to help the IMGs. Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you.
Okay, let me take some other questions. Swati, people are asking about, silver plan, and also maybe we'll send out an email. There are also questions about group enrollment. So I hope you're grabbing these questions so we can tell you. Let me take a couple of other questions. If you are having a residency, I think one of you asked this question in OBGYN, applying to IM, how do you handle this? So you always have to look at a couple of things. One, without, say, IM rotations or primary care rotations, it's not going to be easy, right? From OB-GYN to IM. So relevant rotations, relevant LORs are always important. And then look at some of those skills that you can use, that you learned in OB-GYN and you can use in IM. Now, it can be specific to the specialty, or it could be, like patient counseling, primary care skills, working in teams, managing teams of residents. So there are things that you can use across specialties, and that can help you. Let me ask you let me tackle another question. Can I include example from my PS in the interview answer? Yes, of course you can. Everyone knows PS has its limitation with 700 odd words. So absolutely you can add on to that. What if I did all my research in a different specialty, but applying to IM? It's a hard one if you have done more than 1 year or so of, say, research in neurology, applying in IM. Definitely you can convince them, but you should have done things in IM also over and above research. And the research methodology is common, and obviously some of the tools that you may have learned are common, but if you have done more research in one specialty but applying to another, it does get harder. Okay. Let me take one more question if I can, and then we'll wrap up. If I have no research and publications, how do I justify not being part of any research? So this is one of the questions we do tackle in our interview prep. In fact, we have about 80 plus questions we help you practice and answer. So this is one of them. Obviously, not everyone can do full-time research. So, you can always say you've been trying. Now, it could also be, why have you not done any of the research initiatives on your own? It depends on your profile. If you are a recent graduate or you've been working full-time, so you have to tell them how you've been trying, but because of maybe the lack of time, maybe multitasking, or maybe other issues based on your profile that you could not engage in research. However, you have to keep showing that you're still interested and the actions you are taking to probably get started in research.
Okay, we have one more. Sorry to interrupt you. We have one question on Facebook, if you can answer that. I didn't apply for the programs yet because my MS transcript is still processing by ECFMG. Will a week delay in applying reduces the chances of my application being reviewed and get IVs?
Yes, so obviously this is specialty specific, right? So for example, if you are applying to a very niche specialty, you may have more time, like the general surgery and all that, slightly more time, but in general, a week's delay is not recommended. Your chances of interviews will definitely go down, but there are ways and means to improve it, and we can help you, whether it's outreach or some of the other things. MSP is not that critical part of your application. The LORs, etc., are more critical, but yes, a week's delay can hurt you negatively when it comes to interview preparation. All right, with that, I think I will wrap it up. Swati will be there, and she can answer questions. We will follow up with emails with those of you who are interested. Hopefully this was useful. And again, we have a lot of support. We have an open group, we have YouTube and all that. So hopefully we can all help you match regardless of where you are in your journey. Thank you all and good luck to you. We will continue to do more of these sessions in the season. So good luck. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Guys, if you have any question, just drop it here. I'll try to answer it. Someone was asking. You can upgrade, if you are a Sarthi student, you can upgrade the plan. Just contact Sejal if you want to go for interview preparation plan. Thank you very much. Thank you. Letter of interest. Okay. To get the prize, what should we do? Just contact Sejal if you are interested in interview preparation plan. If you have any questions, just drop it here. We will try to answer it. Okay, how to access IV prep plan? Just contact Sejal and you can have all the details on our website page. Sejal, can you just drop the details of our IV prep and the coupon code? And this is for a limited time. You just have 2 days time to, enroll with this offer. Otherwise, later on, you won't get any discount on this. So you are getting $150 flat off on silver interactive plan. And this plan now you will get in $950. And we have few rotations as well on discount. So meanwhile, you are going for match, you can, go for rotations as well. Those are also on discount. For the group discount, just contact Sejal. She will be able to answer all the queries. Yeah, Sejal, I think you had those links. If you can share the rotation link, yeah. And from this one is PD rotation. No, the silver plan is for 1100 and you're getting $150 off on that. So now it's $950 just for the webinar. PD rotation is L13 IMNJ. And you can, if you are doing this rotation from November till December, you will get 10% discount on that. That can, you can talk about these rotation in interview. This is with PD. This will add value to your, CV. No worries, Dr. Shima, you can connect with Sejal. She will clear all your doubts. Yes, you can connect with her in Telegram. Otherwise, she's posting her details here. Her email ID is sejalkhurana@USMLESathi.com, or you can WhatsApp her at 7620861205. Yeah. For any query related to interview prep, mock interview, please contact Sejal. You can take add-on mocks, but mocks is not included with Turbo Match. The mocks are included in our comprehensive plans, that is platinum, gold, bronze. Yes, live sessions are recorded, and you can check the recording if you are not able to join the live classes. But for the interview practice sessions, we have multiple sessions, so you can attend those. Yes, we showed the platform Matchflix. You can watch all the videos anytime. Can I upgrade to silver? Yes, you can upgrade to silver. Just contact Sejal. Yes, we will have sessions in October as well. just go to the rotation and check the availability. You will get, you have to check the availability there. I think you will get in October.